bylaw, section 250-21A, accessory uses to home occupation be the first one. Subsequent to that, we'll go to the amendment for Bolton zoning map, which we are not going to include as part of the articles for this year's warrant. And then we will move to the driveway bylaw, the amendment to Bolton's major residential development bylaw, the amendment for inclusionary zoning, that would be 5, and then 6, and probably the most lengthy discussion will be the amendment to Bolton zoning bylaw to define additional uses and jurisdiction. Let me start out by talking about what we are going to make our first discussion, and that's the accessory uses home occupation. I personally have gotten a fair amount of feedback from people who, in fact, are involved in home occupations. I believe that memo from Doug Story has been distributed to the rest of the board. It is my recommendation to the board that we defer this indefinitely, form an ad hoc committee that will include a member of the planning board, the planner, as well as representative members from the home occupation community and residents at large. Do I have any questions or comments on that before I ask for a motion?
Fine with doing that.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I will make a motion to not include the amendment to Bolton zoning bylaw section 250-21A, accessory uses home occupation, as an amendment in the upcoming town meeting articles.
A second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please vote.
Robert Romer,
Yes.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
and Eric Nyland.
Aye.
Okay, as a postscript to that, I'd like to thank Doug Story for putting together a lengthy and definitive discussion of why this would have a significant impact on those who are engaged in this type of activity. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks.
Okay.
Doug.
Pam, do you want to briefly describe the amendment or why we're not pursuing the amendment for the Bolton zoning map?
I can just give you the origins of where the amendments came from. And the building commissioners received a few complaints from abutters regarding noisy activity related to the operation of landscaping vehicles and similar type of vehicles in residential zones. And he has had trouble enforcing that as under the home occupation bylaw. So he requested we added some additional criteria to aid with some nuisances that were occurring throughout town. It was not intended to be detrimental to any businesses that are operating under the home occupation guidelines. So we are more than happy to take a careful look at it and come to a resolution that doesn't negatively affect current businesses.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, moving on to the original proposed amendment to Bolton zoning map for business zoning in the parcels indicated in the agenda.
Yes, the
And-
board voted not to pursue this zoning amendment at the last meeting, but it had already been advertised and property owners were sent notice. So we just request that you make a formal motion not to include this as a zoning amendment in the town meeting warrant article, just for the record.
Okay. So we will not. Do we need a further vote on that?
Yes, I would, because it was advertised as a hearing. I think we should have a formal vote not to
Okay,
include.
motion to remove that from the warrant, please.
This is the business zoning district.
Yes, this is a
amendment.
business zoning district expansion on Main Street.
I will make a motion to remove the amendment to Bolton zoning map to extend the business zoning district along Main Street from the upcoming town meeting article.
Pam,
Second.
roll call.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
Aye.
James Barr.
Aye.
And Eric
Guys,
Dowling.
I'm sorry. I have to run. I have a work thing I have to go take care of that requires me to leave.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
no problem.
All right,
Mike's
thank you.
here. Okay. Bye, Jim. Thanks.
Austin, you provided the second on that.
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Eric Dylan, I don't know if we got your vote on that motion. Can you just confirm?
Eric has joined us.
Is Eric frozen?
Very hard.
Eric, do you hear us?
Nope.
He was here for a moment.
He voted on the list.
We still have
Eric,
quorum, so
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
So I just for the record, Michael Lau, Planning Board Associate Member, is in attendance and will be acting as a voting member of the board going forward with this public hearing.
Okay, moving on to what I've indicated as item 3 is the driveway bylaw revision. You want to bring that up, Pam?
Sure.
Now, for a bit of background on this has come as a result of a number of issues that we have had with the current bylaw in terms of distance, drainage onto the street, shared driveways, etc. And so we felt appropriate to make revisions to the driveway bylaw to preclude these from happening in the future and make sure people are aware of our expectations in that regard. You want to walk through the revisions, Pam?
Sure, the amendments are highlighted in purple font and also underlined on the screen. We are proposing amendments to add a provision that no driveway access shall be located closer than 25 feet from the curb line of an intersecting street measured from the nearest point of the driveway. And that's just to keep a safe distance for vehicle flow and site distances. A singular shared driveway shall be no greater than 20 feet in width within the right of way of the property line. There is no current maximum width, so that's specified. That'll help keep impervious area down and prevent wide driveways. Any areas disturbed in connection with the construction of the driveway shall be stabilized to prevent erosion and sedimentation of the subject property, adjacent property, and of the intersecting street. Adjoining drainage structures shall be protected from sedimentation. Disturbed areas shall be loomed and seeded immediately following construction or temporary erosion control measures used outside of the growing season.
Let me just step back and give some rationale for that. We've had a number of problems with at least more than a couple of recent driveways in which there was not sufficient erosion control and not sufficient design so that a substantial amount of debris and water and ice ended up in the roadway. So we wanted to be very clear about that. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. For number 12, we're adding posted vehicle speed sight distance requirements. Since the last meeting, we just added a provision for 25 miles per hour since that wasn't included in the proposed table and is a speed limit throughout many areas in town. Randy Heglin, our DPW director, also just requested that we add a reference that these requirements are taken from the American Association of Highway and Transportation official, commonly referred to as AASHTO guidelines. So we just put a notation in there to cite the source of those site distance requirements. And he also requested a provision be added that driveway apron shall be paved with bituminous concrete from the pavement edge of the public way interior to the site for a distance of 20 feet in length. And that is because a lot of, if driveways aren't paved where the gravel meets the edge of the public way pavement, it can cause a lot of wear and tear within the public way. And if there's an apron that's paved, it will reduce the damage that is done to the concrete. And then the last provision is just an option for a waiver if for any circumstances someone's not able to satisfy some of the criteria of the bylaw for whatever reasons associated maybe with topography or grading of their lot, that they can apply to the planning board to request a waiver of that provision. And that's it.
Okay, I guess my hope is that people will adhere to the speed limits in Bolton, but there's not much else we can cite.
Yeah, requiring a traffic study to get traveled speed seemed excessive for a driveway opening, so these should provide hopefully adequate sight distance requirements.
Okay.
I did have so
okay.
yeah, Bob, I did have a couple questions. One was, do we want to include fines with this? Like, is, if this was to address some existing problems with sediment coming out onto the road, is there an ability to fine, Pam, based on this, or?
I think we would do it the same way we would under our zoning bylaw.
Okay, so this just gives you more of an enforcement mechanism.
Yeah, and it also provides more safety guidelines, which was really the larger intent of the amendments.
And for that other change about the paving for 20 feet. So does
Yes.
that preclude people from, I know some people put cobblestones at the end of their driveway. Does that preclude something like that because we're restricting it strictly to?
This
So-
would, yes. Yep.
Okay,
I think that was, Randy discussed that and thought it was problematic as well.
Okay. Any other comments from the board on this? This will be very helpful to give people a heads up in the beginning about our expectations, because it really has been quite challenging over the last 2 years anyway. And part of it is, and let me expand on that. And part of it is because the remaining developable land in Bolton adjacent to public ways is much more steep than most of the land that we've developed to date. So this becomes more and more important as we go on. So it's just a matter of the remaining developable land becomes less developable, and we have to take into consideration things like this. The other part of this that has yet to be established is that there will be, as I understand it, and we need to be involved in that, additional requirements in driveway permitting, the information that is needed to be provided as part of permitting a driveway. And part of that is anticipating beyond the immediate intersection of the driveway to the public way, to look at the drainage above that. And that's where a number of issues have started, that the drainage above the first 25 to 50 feet has not precluded an enormous amount of water and gravel, sand, and other things from coming out into the public way. So that's our next step, but that's not required as an article. Okay, any other comments from the board? Any other comments from residents?
Yeah, hi. This is Mike Taylor, 109 Old Bay Road.
Hi.
I couldn't find this text on the website. Will this be posted?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was a file for this section, but it was different than what you're showing.
Pam, can you comment?
Yeah, it should be posted on the website under 2026 bylaw changes. It's also posted at the clerk's office.
Yeah, that's where I printed out 2250-17 and the text is different than what you're showing.
No, that's a different article.
Okay, I thought you were going with 250-17 driveway
Yeah,
bylaw.
driveway bylaws, yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I guess if you can update it
No, well,
later.
let's just check it. Let's,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah,
let's
I'm checking it.
bring it to closure right now if we have the information.
Do you have a question about the bylaw while
Yeah,
we're looking at that?
it
Well,
came up.
If the text is different than what I printed out, I'd like to just read through it. I mean, on offline, but I just want to make sure I get the correct text.
Let me just show, because it's coming up the same online, so
Oh,
the board did make a few slight amendments, including the driveway apron, but so that is not posted yet. But hold on, I'll share my screen.
Hmm.
So under planning board 2026, and then driveway bylaw, it comes up.
okay, it's different than I got. Okay, my mistake. Sorry.
Okay.
No, it's no problem. And I'm happy to email you the version they're, I think are going to approve tonight as well. That will be posted as well with all the final revisions.
Mike, if you have further questions, if you could send an email off to Pam.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to,
I'm sorry. I don't know how to raise my hand.
okay, Mark.
Yeah, Mark Case, the Bolton Tree Warden. I had some concerns about the sightline distances prior to the amended bylaw proposal. There is no sightline restrictions for single or shared driveways. Seeing like the minimum sight distance, of 200 feet, it seems like it could dramatically impact some of our scenic roads.
I think it would just alter the location of where the driveway meets the lot. I don't know that it would.
So many times we'll come out to a proposed driveway site and, you can see clearly, say you're coming out of the driveway, you can clearly see to the right, but you may not be able to see to the left. That's where I understand the site issues are. You want to make sure you see the oncoming vehicles, but to get a clear line of sight in both directions could, in many cases, require extensive tree removal.
I mean, on top of that, I will actually say my driveway in particular, I'm over the crest of a hill.
Exactly.
So looking south, Mark, you know my driveway.
Yep.
When you're coming out of the driveway, looking south on the road, like I could see like 20 feet because it's at the crest of a hill. So I don't know. You might have to have some play in these numbers potentially.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
concerned.
the waiver options
Waiver,
are
yeah.
there.
Yeah, we
but
can
these are
waive it.
Oh,
These are
okay.
recommended by AASHTO, so these are completed by traffic safety engineers to be the minimum sight distance required to pull out into the various speeds. So
The majority of Bolton's back roads aren't even close to meeting any of the safety requirements. I mean, they're so narrow. So, some places we only have 12 feet of pavement, which isn't even 2 car widths. So I'm just wanting to let the board be, I'm just concerned about the impact on some of our scenic roads for, enforcing a distance of 200 feet is pretty far.
But it would, yeah, depending on the speed, it can be more or less than that, actually.
Well, I think, the long and the short of it is, yes, that's probably true, but there's very little other criteria that we could use that's referenceable. And we do have the ability, and I absolutely understand, to discretionarily provide a waiver to this, which, as you say, we certainly, I certainly would fall on the side of the trees and stone walls on our small and narrow roads. So
I'm
I
just
think this
wondering
is
if they're in the proposed bylaw, if something should be mentioned about that though, that these are the,
yeah.
minimum standards that we would like to have. However, in many cases, that may not be, possible. I mean,
Well, and we do say that.
okay.
And number 14, it
Number
states a waiver
Yeah,
from
number 14
requirements
provides for
of
waiver.
this.
Is the concern, as I understand it, that that could be used to clear more trees or remove more stone wall because you're trying to meet they're not going to request the waiver. Let's say somebody had the desire to remove the stone wall and they use this bylaw as the reason for the removal, which would be potentially contradictory to the scenic roads, I think is maybe the concern. I kind of see that.
Yes.
Exactly. That was my concern. And that, up to this point, private drives and shared driveways did not qualify for any site distance. And I think that was not a bad idea based on the amount of cars that go in and out of the driveways. And there is some cases where there's a tree that's, well, my driveway, for example, I have a huge white oak tree that's probably 3 feet from the edge of my driveway, but I can see clearly the opposite way, which way the traffic's coming from.
Would they be able to just remove stone walls without coming to the board?
No,
No.
On a scenic road. Yeah, I
So
mean,
they-
but
yeah, they-
both
They
things would
cannot-
have to come to the planning board.
Exactly.
So that,
exactly.
I'm not
Yeah.
worried about
Yeah.
being contradictory. We would control the process on
Yeah.
on both sides.
Yes.
The scenic road hearing and the waiver of this. So I'm not worried about that. I mean,
okay.
there are so many driveways that I pass by that are so dangerous.
Yeah.
Like based on lines and trees and whatever. And it's like we should do Bob, I take your point about preserving the trees, but it's like we do need to have some safety standards for these
Yep.
driveways. I see some around town and they're crazy. So I think this gives us the flexibility to handle all cases.
I mean, a point could be made that the flexibility goes both ways. Like a property owner could use this ambiguity to do it their way as well.
Yeah,
Not
but
without our
it's
permission.
Discussion on order of precedence, or at least specifying this is wholly new, right? Like it's not like it's modified from a previous. I personally think it's worth a discussion of.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out
precedent.
how, as the tree warden, when I go to look at a site, how I'm going to enforce it when I'm staying at the end of someone's driveway and the clear site distance is 155 feet. I mean, 155 feet is pretty far when you only might have 200 feet of road frontage. So are we just going to clear cut a lot of these back roads in town just so people can see it out of their driveways?
No.
They'll have to come to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be more work on our part, no question.
Okay.
It's going to delay the process on their part. That's too bad.
Right.
But at the same time, we'll have a modicum of safety, and we will also preserve the character of the town in its roads.
I was just worried about the minimum distances. That's all. That seemed
Yeah.
like they're, and I just want to let you know what I thought.
No, I know.
Maybe we should call these out as minimum recommended distances. Is that to have that in there might just be a little bit of a better language.
Yeah, I just seemed like it was pretty hard. Most of the roads here aren't posted at 25 miles an hour, so you're looking at a couple hundred feet, and that could be all your frontage.
Well, as it now stands, this is the one referenceable document that we have, AASHTO.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have an off-ramp in this, in that we can provide a waiver. And we certainly would consider the character of the road in considering that waiver and potentially reduce it, but very thoughtfully.
Yep. And it definitely needs to be looked at case by case.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So suffice it to say, if somebody puts in a driveway and they look at 150 feet or 155 feet on either side, and they're going to take down stone walls and trees, well, sorry, folks, come talk to us and we'll figure out a better solution jointly with them that meets both reasonable safety needs and the um,
I can personally think of, I've been the tree warden since 92. I can personally think of at least 10 driveways in town where we had stately trees on either side of the driveway and we denied people because there was no existing sightline distances for a single driveway, and denied their request for the tree removal. I totally agree with it, in their sight line of where you need to pull out into oncoming traffic, but when it's the sight distance in both directions, you can get out into the roadway a little bit and still see who's coming. But I can think of at least 10 driveways where we said no. You have a pretty good clear view of sight, and that tree's going to stay.
okay, so
I think,
having
those 10 property owners with this change may have interest in using this ambiguity to try to get a reversal of that.
Exactly.
I-
Or at least to
we would still have oversight over
revisit
that,
it.
so we would
Well, there's
still
still-
have to come, right?
we still have to have the public tree hearings and everything, but it gives us pretty good leverage prior that the shared and single driveways had no sightline visibility restrictions. So, I mean, you can say, okay, I can see clearly 75 feet to my right, but I can see 100 feet to my left. Well, the 100 feet to your left is where the oncoming traffic is coming from. So you can see further, but you can't see hardly at all, or not, or limited to the other direction.
as
I
long
just-
as you're turning right.
Well, correct, but you can nose out and say, okay, because my driveway is the same way. I can see that no one's coming up the hill, but I have to look out a little bit to get by the tree to see if anybody's coming down the hill.
Would there be any reason not to state that there's a precedence or a preference for the scenic bylaw over this one if it does conflict? To make it at least more clear which one is precedence? Considering the scenic bylaw existed prior to this.
Well, I think it would be hard to establish the precedent of one over the other. I think we need to look at each situation and determine on the basis of that what makes sense and whether there can be a relocation of the driveway, a number of other things, as we have incidentally, fairly
So-
recently.
Instead of throwing out numbers of footage, why don't you just leave it as driveways shall be posted as a permit with minimum safe site distance, or something along those lines, without giving. Like I said, some lots may only have 200 feet, and if they're in their right for site, because everybody looks at public safety as number one. You can't. I would feel awkward saying, I'm not going to let you cut this tree because it's a really nice tree, but now you're saying, well, public safety is more important. They have to have the clear line of sight.
I think that would be too ambiguous, and you need to define what safe sight distance is. You just can't leave it up to someone to determine without some sort of standard.
I mean, the alternative is to come up with a driveway layout in the permit request and have the permitting authority look at that and have the tree warden look at that and determine whether that makes sense or not, but have no real criteria to make a decision either way. The problem that we have now is that with this suggested approach is, as you stated, a substantial number of driveways will suddenly not be viable without dealing with stone wall and tree removal, in which case we have to have a conversation.
Yep.
It's going to mean, you're absolutely correct, that there will be a number of cases that will land in front of us that wouldn't have done so in the past. And we will have to make a decision either way.
Yep.
The question is, do we want to lay out the rules of the game in the beginning and make a decision to determine the precedents under individual situations, or do we want to have a precedent requirement and that's it, and allow them to come to us? Other members of the board, like to hear from you.
I mean, I think it's fine to leave the table in. I mean, if this is what's agreed to from the, the highway transportation department, that these are safe guidelines, I'd at least like to know what the guidelines are, right? So I'd like to know that it's 155 feet. And then if we have someone and they're like, well, I've only got 25 feet, right? We at least know what the delta is, where someone's like, I've got 100 feet here, but the recommendation is 155, then as a board, I feel like, we'd be more comfortable granting that waiver. So I think it's fine to leave this in here.
And there are other fixes. I mean, convex mirrors are very common, right?
Yep.
I've used them. They're not pleasant, and you have to keep them clean and unbroken, but they are really very useful in very narrow, curvy roads. So that is something that can be used to mitigate the problem. We
Yeah,
just
like I
want to
said,
know about it. I think
Yep,
that's it, Mark.
I just yep, I understand. And I just want to also say that, we're talking about the safety guidelines on, the DOT or whatever this guidelines came from. Like I said before, probably the majority of our back roads don't even meet their criteria.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
that's what I was trying to say. So it's really hard to follow their criteria when the roadway itself doesn't even meet the criteria.
Well, I recommend we go with this and give people the off-ramp.
Okay. Just thought I wanted.
And
I
your
just wanted to
points
chime
are
in.
well taken. I mean,
Yeah.
AASHTO's done a lot of work in Ohio.
Can certainly revisit this if it becomes an issue. I mean, that's,
Yeah, I think so.
it's fine to put a stake in the ground right here, and then let's see if it causes problems.
Yep. But again, without an off-ramp, it would be terrible. With this, I think it's better.
Okay.
Workable. But your comments are well taken.
And just
I've been
to the
out there
point
when
that,
people wanted to take trees down as well.
yeah, I mean, just to the point of like our existing roads don't meet the criteria, but that's why any new road that gets built has, far stricter criteria than the existing ones. I understand this applies to existing roads, but we still want to do our best to make things better and safer for everyone.
Right.
No, I understand. I understand that. I just look at, some of these, the majority of the back roads are just narrow cart paths.
Yep.
So,
And that will undoubtedly be part of the permitting process for driveway applications. If it exceeds this, we want to talk.
yep. Okay.
Okay.
Just my 2 cents. Thank you much, everybody.
Well, they're more than 2 cents, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Let's move on to major residential development. Pam, if you can bring that up.
Sure. Just this is a requirement that we're proposing so we actually comply with Mass General Law. There was a court case, I think it was 2008, so it's been quite a while. Yeah, 2008. Of Wall Street Development versus Planning Board of Westwood, where the courts ruled that you cannot require a definitive subdivision, which meets that as of right zoning to apply under a special permit. And this specifically referenced requirement of a yield plan under something similar to Bosford. I think it was a cluster type of development. So the way our bylaw is currently worded, it does not comply with laws, and if we enforce it, we would probably eventually end up in a lawsuit. So we're just proposing some changes, slight changes to amend the major residential development bylaw to encourage that they file under the Fosford, but not require it.
However, historically, people have gone for phosphors, so whether we ask them or not.
Yeah, it seems to be the preferable option. There's less roadway construction, less land to clear. So I'm not seeing it as having a significant impact on what comes before the board, but we do want to comply with Mass General Law.
Yeah. Sure wish Stevenson's had, well, they didn't opt, and they were asked not to. Okay, any other comments on that? Great. Okay,
Well,
Do you want to,
we were supposed to vote for the last one,
Yeah,
probably.
yes.
do you want to do the voting at the end? And
Yeah, let's go through all the comments and vote at the end.
are there any questions or comments on this, or should I move forward?
Move forward.
Inclusionary zoning is next.
Yep, I'm sorry, I should have said it.
Okay.
This is an easy
So-
one.
Yeah, this is just one of those weird ones where under inclusionary zoning, the planning board has jurisdiction over the projects, but the select board was designated jurisdiction over the definition of local preference. So it would require referral to the select board for this definition, and then it would have to go back to the planning board to incorporate it into a decision. So it just seemed, since it's actually state defined, that it'd be just better suited under planning board jurisdiction.
Comments, questions? I mean, it seems very straightforward. It's a little bit about our subdivision road acceptance policy. Okay. Shall we move on to the main event? The land use table. Eric, you had a number of very recent questions on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of them are major.
Well, anything that you think are more major than not, if you could make sure that we all have at least consensus on this.
So, just
Do
for
you want
my
me to go
knowledge,
through them one by one, or what?
yeah. So, oh shoot, for my knowledge, business versus limited business, like, is business kind of like has a little bit more industrial than limited business? Like, can you define them to me?
Business is supposed to be broader and encompass more uses. Limited business is intended to kind of be a lighter transitional area, so it would be slightly more restrictive in terms of the impact of land uses.
Okay, so think of it as like a transitional area.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
Limited
All right.
businesses are like office build, like small office buildings and
Yeah.
yeah, things like that.
And that's why like gas stations are in the business zone. And really, it seems like the only business zone is, I think, the Kane property, if I remember,
Yeah, and
Um,
currently, the Forbush Mill Road area
in the
is,
Yeah.
Forbush Mill. So that
Yep.
makes sense, yeah. Whereas the other side of the highway, yeah, maybe you don't want a gas station there. Although I could argue that the lot of land um, to the east of integrated animal health, maybe, maybe that could be a gas station or something, but like, it's fine. It sounds good. All right. So I understand those now. So you can move forward.
Yeah, that'd take a traffic study.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just, yeah, restaurants. Why don't we have restaurants in industrial? I mean, if somebody wanted to put like I know up in Chelmsford where I used to work, there was, like a press cafe and kind of like a building, like maybe Paragon wants to have a restaurant. I don't know.
Some people put breweries these days in like
Yeah,
industrial park,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did allow that on the next one, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Part of it is, I mean, we're such a small town that it doesn't totally apply, but industrial is for your industrial uses, and you want to have your businesses and whatever in non-industrial areas, right? You don't want to have, unless you want to have some steampunk cafe, whatever.
well, that's what I was thinking. I mean,
I mean, it is, you are sort of trying to keep like businesses in the zone. Like that's the point of the zoning.
Mhm.
And I think industrial is a little bit different from the other ones. Like, back to your business versus limited business question, like when we talked about the Colonial Candies property, my thoughts were that anything that you allow in limited business, you have to also allow in business, right? I don't think it's the same for industrial. Industrial is a different category.
Yeah.
It's meant to be different. So as a planning board, we could say like, oh, restaurants and industrial, that's fine. Like, yeah, I don't care. But at the same time, then if you have a smelter next to a restaurant and someone's complaining about the fumes or whatever, it's like, well, that's industrial. And so there's a reason why you split off things like that. Again,
That's
because
fine.
we're such a small town, it doesn't totally apply to us, but because
Okay,
no
it
one's
was
doing
just
that
a
sort of stuff. But yeah, no, I
Sure.
hear you.
It's just a thought. What's my next one? Oh, so like brewery, restaurant, motel, hotel. I mean, isn't that already in that zone? Like, so why would that be no? I mean,
so
the international.
in the limited recreational business, it has its own kind of special permit categories, and all those uses are allowed as accessory to the golf course by special permit. So they are not included in the land use table, because if you designated as a special permit, it would be allowed as a primary use and not something that's accessory to
Yeah.
the golf course that's zoned.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. We can skip the banks one then. Just, I didn't know if like on the edge of town, if somebody wanted a bank, I mean, that's fine if you want to keep the industrial. So you could skip that one or clear it, whatever you want to do. What was my next point?
Special permit for office use. You said special permit across the zone.
Oh,
We
yeah,
didn't
like,
change that, actually. That's the way it is.
yeah, so in business, you say yes, and so limited business, we're saying transitional special permit. Okay, yeah, that's fine. This is good. Now that I have that. What did I say there?
Why would these be special
yeah.
permit?
Like this seems like it would be fine to be yes. Limited business. Like if somebody wanted to open up a dance studio in what's it, the Bolton, I forget what it's called, the Bolton Manor area or something. I don't see why they would need a special permit. I feel like that these could just be yeses, but
which one are you talking about, Eric? The
studios.
Karate's, dance, fitness, athletic
would
club.
have those be yes rather than special permit. Yeah.
Athletic clubs would be nice to have, and that I think a lot of people would appreciate that in town.
I mean, I mean, we're not overly onerous anyway, so it's just, I was just like, my main thinking was like, I was trying to differentiate between business and limited business, so. Like, maybe yeah,
If you do change it to yes, you would still have jurisdiction over site plan for new construction, so that there is, which doesn't give you control over the use, but it does
Yeah.
give you control over the site
Yeah.
design, so.
yeah, I mean, I thought these could be yes, but
That, it's
It's
up
not
to
that
the
big.
board,
yeah,
but
it's not that
I
big
think
of a
that
deal.
would be appropriate.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else?
Neither do I.
We ought to encourage it, frankly.
Yeah,
What
it
about
seemed-
the industrial? Do we want to?
I think it should just, if somebody wants to open up a karate studio in Paragon, I don't see why we need to go through special permit process.
Yeah, I think we ought to think about Paragon because there are a number of things that could be developed that would be of great use to the town and particularly with an academy going up in Stowe.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, like, allowing a restaurant in the industrial because, maybe you want one there is all, that's kind of up above, but, whatever, you could leave it special permit.
Well, with a special permit, that's fine.
Yeah, sure.
So special
Yeah, that's fine. Just leave
permit
it.
with this probably is equally appropriate.
Yep, yeah. Just the medical office building, you just had a Y, I think you meant, it's just to be the same.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, type yes. But the one thing I
You
was
had
gonna
maybe
say,
special permit. for
yeah,
that.
maybe a special permit, like, I mean, yeah, maybe a special permit for that. I don't know, like, business zone is Orbish, it's gain property.
Medical
know.
office building.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that different than a regular office building is my question.
Yeah, I mean, office building, is that just allowed or is that special permit?
I think medical office buildings might have more traffic if you think of patient
Yeah.
services and
So
clientele that goes in and out.
maybe it makes sense for that to be special permit then, I don't know, even in the business zone. Right, maybe that should be special permit, is what I was saying. If you want to look at like traffic studies and stuff like that. In site plan, can you request a traffic study?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
So
Just one more question about the medical office. So does that mean, I'm sorry, what are those like administrative or these are like outpatient centers, right? That actually
Or like
administer
a
healthcare.
Reliant building or a UMass office building
Okay.
that's predominantly used for medical purposes.
Okay.
Seeing patients. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Being
Not a hospital, but like
Yeah.
primary care or
Yep.
physical therapy or things like that.
Yes.
well, so
Okay.
so right below, I mean, not to compare people to animals, but like if
I
a
was gonna say the
veterinarian
same
established.
But they are.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know.
Humans don't bark as much, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I was just trying to make it consistent.
They should
Like-
be, I agree, they should be consistent.
Yeah, I do too.
Change this to yes or medical to special permit.
Maybe both special permit.
Yeah, I think multiple special permit. All right. Garage and repair shops. So, I mean, I'm thinking like, okay, so let's try to like break this out. So we have gas stations with retail, which I don't think there would be a gas station anymore without retail. But anyway, and then garage and repair shop. So I don't have a problem with a repair shop in the business zone personally. I don't know about anybody else. I could see limited business. Okay, like it's the transitional, maybe you don't want a garage there, but like, I don't know. I don't mind.
They can often be unsightly, and if the
Yeah.
Forbush Mill area is currently zoned business, it's not, I don't think it'd be one of the most desirable uses for that area. That I think that was a
Okay, and you have special permit, and then like a gas station with retail, that's like a little bit nicer. So, okay, I'm happy with the way it is.
And so what if you had a gas station that had a garage with it, kind of like what's that, the mobile station?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so is that a gas station? Or is that a garage and repair shop?
you'd go with the more restrictive use. So it would be the repair shop.
Um,
Hmm.
I feel like in the business zone, this maybe could be a special permit, the garage and repair shop. I don't know.
You thinking of the mobile?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah. Like I feel like that could be a SP. I don't know what others think.
Yeah, I would make those consistent just because you typically have, I
Yeah.
guess not all the time now, but a lot of times you have a gas station with a garage.
Yeah. I think the more modern thing is like a convenience store, but like there are
Yeah.
still some that have like the inspection and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are a lot with inspections.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's good. You can, yeah. Now that I understand limited business is transitional, that you don't worry about, the gasoline stations is good now there. So, what else did I have? Keep scrolling. I think that's it for this page. Oh, you said you were going to get rid of this, Bob, right? It's just weird. Movie drive-in establishment.
Yeah,
It's like,
I
Yeah,
suggest
yeah.
we get rid of that.
I mean,
That-
it's equivalent to us putting discotheques. It's kind of just a joke.
Fax machine repair shop.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to understand wholesale outside of building versus wholesale within. Like, what are we talking about?
Girl Scout cookies.
It is wholesale.
We
Like,
mentioned that up above, right? Wholly within a building or wholly or partially outside of a building.
For
Right under retail. The
yeah,
first one
for
under
retail.
retail.
Yep.
So we are distinguishing between
but what is this? Can you describe it to me?
It'd be like the outdoor sale of
Like
equipment or things not open to the public. So
like stone and mulch, you're saying?
things that wouldn't fall under the yeah, that could qualify, but it wouldn't be open for retail. It'd be open for like a contractor's yard or something similar to that.
Okay. So I guess that makes sense the way you have it then. Limited businesses, no. Okay, I'm good with that then.
Someday it would be useful to have a little not we want to publish it, a description of not only what the zones mean, but what the individual uses mean, spread out a little bit. Anyway, not for this discussion.
So, I mean, this kind of goes along with why not a restaurant in industrial. I also said, why not like a daycare? And also I'm thinking how Paragon has kind of like, it has kind of like an area where they could have multiple businesses. And I think they do have like, not a daycare, but it's like an autism, like training, or I forget what it is. Even if it's still there, it might have come and gone, but like, why not a daycare by special permit industrial? I mean, I see you saying it's not a lot of smelting going on these days in the area, but like,
But I mean, if Paragon did develop it into a multi, business organization,
that's kind of what I was
attraction is daycare.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, along with restaurants too. Like I was trying to open up the industrial zone a bit just to give them more flexibility personally.
I would agree with that. I don't know how others feel.
Yeah. Like I feel like you could put a special permit on family daycare.
Yeah, I don't think you just want to open it by right, but a special permit.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Generally, anything with a special permit, I'm fine because we have a lot of control
Discretion.
over that process. Yeah.
I mean, and then if that's the thought, we can put a special permit on the restaurant one too.
Yeah, can we go
that-
back to that? I think that's a good
That's
point.
fine.
I mean, that's up to them if, you know, if people aren't gonna go there because there's some factory next to it. But like, yeah, steampunk.
I mean, would we want to rezone Paragon?
That's
Is that
what I-
something that we would like? That seems like if they really wanted to develop that into more of a retail and whatever, it's like then it's not industrial, then it's really business. Like, and we should just
Well,
rezone
but
it.
they do have kind of like a factory aspect to it, but they do also have like places, parts they rent out, you know. I would like to get
Sure.
a tour. I would like to get a tour of
Yeah,
that
I would
someday.
too. I mean, I think that's a good point, Eric.
Yeah.
You know, a good example would be the mill over in Hudson, where I can't think of the names of anything in it.
Like the Good Earth, it has Good Earth.
Yeah.
and-
That one, right?
yeah.
So
Is that called
is
the
that
landing? The landing, maybe?
the
Yeah,
land?
the
I think you're
landing.
right.
Yeah.
So that's clearly an old warehouse that they've converted into lots of different neat businesses, and I agree that would be awesome to have in Bolton. Now,
I mean, that's
is
that's
that
what I was thinking.
but I don't know. The problem is I don't know if that zone now one could come in and be like, well, I'm opening my paint stripping, you know, factory or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
want to have disgusting things in the same building as, you know, shops and restaurants and things like that. Like, it's one thing to have an industrial vibe, but it's another thing to actually have somebody doing industrial grade
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Gonna
and
cause problems, yeah.
yeah, and I think they have a really diverse set of businesses there, but I don't think anything is like heavy in industry. So they have like they do have they have architectural offices, they have kind of a whole range of things, but nothing is like heavy manufacturing or anything like that.
Oh. So why don't we put this on hold, and when we're finished with Forbush, or maybe in parallel, take a careful look at the east end of town and think about ways that we could encourage them to develop that, or give them the leeway to develop it in different ways that could provide the kind of attraction to businesses as well as amenities for the folks who will inevitably come from Stowe.
So you're saying just leave
Yes.
it no for now, or is that what you're saying, Bob?
Yeah, I just like to take a big picture of, take a look at what's in there, talk to them, understand, the
Yep.
owner's perspective.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's fine. Leave it no for this year. Let's try to like have an outing, go to that
Yeah.
facility. I would like that, and maybe talk to the owners and see what they're thinking, see how we can open it up if possible, or,
But I think it's very much what we were in the process of doing with Forbush.
yeah. Okay. So sorry, Pam, back to no.
Okay. And the
Uh,
daycare, I don't,
Yeah, you can leave that no for now, I guess, but I think it would be a good spot for it.
But again, that's something
Yeah.
we should consider.
Yep.
If you
All right.
see a lot of the, redeveloped mills
Yeah.
that have a
Right.
number of businesses, they also have daycare.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was it. If you scroll down. Yeah.
there's
Oh,
one
I went
more.
one. Oh, what did I say?
Should be special permit in industrial for
Oh,
fast
like
food.
if we allowed gas stations like in the industrial zone, but we could just keep it no for now. But I was kind of like thinking of it as a whole, like if there's going to be a gas station in the industrial zone, they might want an accessory fast food as well, which we allow. So, but like if we're going to look at that zone as a whole, then that's fine. Just leave it no for
Yeah,
now.
I think that's a critical priority, frankly. But we need to do it as an overview and understand the whole thing and talk to the owners.
The gas station might want an accessory use for
Right.
the,
Well,
okay.
so we allow fast food by accessory. Like that's why Dunkin' can be in the country cupboard, because it's an accessory use. It's not the main use. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Okay.
Um,
I see. Yeah. Yeah. Understood.
right.
Yes.
It's
Sometimes, sometimes,
it's
yeah.
it's like a convenience store, but it has Dunkin' in there, but it was allowed by special permit
I see.
because it, yeah.
Yeah, we're not proposing to change that. Are you
No,
you
I
wanted
was
to?
thinking, well, no, but like I was just thinking of the industrial zone as a whole opening it up, but we could leave it no for now and then talk about it later, I guess. And then I think my final one is just like bed and breakfast establishment in limited business, I think is reasonable. I don't know.
Yeah, I think no,
It's-
I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that should be special permit, I think.
Yep.
Okay, and now I'm done.
It actually makes more sense there.
Right.
Bed and
Yeah.
breakfast establishment versus bed and breakfast home.
So bed and breakfast home is like an in-house one, like
Got
you,
it.
you
Yep.
live there and you
Yeah,
have like
I
a
mean,
room. An establishment is like kind of like an inn, sort of. You can think of it more like I think it's 4 or more bedrooms, I think is what
Got
the
it. Got it.
word
Okay.
is. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So order of business, let's go back through each one of these and have a formal vote. And then Pam's going to clean those up and then we will have descriptions and we'll put together a summary for each one of the articles that we're proposing at town meeting. Page, as Mike did last year, to briefly describe it.
You
But
want
that isn't necessarily for the
Can we
warrant.
can we just vote on them as a whole or no?
Pam,
you can,
we?
yeah. Yep, you can.
Let's do it.
So you have you have the driveway bylaw, the inclusionary zoning bylaw, the major residential development bylaw, and the land use table.
Yep.
And do you want, is the wording to be to recommend these for approval for the 2026 ATM warrant?
Yeah, to be
That-
submitted with our recommendation to the select board, right? For inclusion in the warrant.
Yes, you want to vote to recommend they be submitted on the town meeting warrant as amended this evening, with a recommendation for approval. Did you want to
Yes.
go over the summaries? Because those will be printed in the warrant, which can't be
Yeah, let's
changed.
do that. That's a good point.
Okay. So this is just from our placeholder memo, basically. So the driveway bylaw states additional design requirements were incorporated into the driveway bylaw to include line of sight requirements, distance from intersections, and drainage requirements. The amendments will provide additional safety standards. That's it.
Now we don't want to say anything about, I don't think we want to say anything in the summary about they can be waived at the discretion of the board.
It might not hurt because if someone
Yeah,
has concerns over that.
yeah. Why don't we, yeah, let's do that.
I mean, people aren't going to read these bylaws. They're going to read the summaries. The average person.
Right.
Sounds good.
That's great.
And then we can up to the IZ summary. Is that one good?
Sure.
Yes.
It's pretty simple. There wasn't much to it. Just says
If I could read it. Yeah, there we go.
A simple amendment to the existing bylaw to assign authority of local preference definitions to the planning board in place of the select board. This amendment will enable the planning board to include conditions for local preference and compliance for the recorded decision. Local preference. That's awkward. In good decision.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, sounds good.
okay.
And then major residential. An amendment based on a land use court ruling from Wall Street Development versus Planning Board of Westwood, 2008, prohibiting the requirement of a special permit for a definitive subdivision filing. The wording of our current bylaw is being amended to comply with Massachusetts general law.
Sounds good.
Do we need a second M and amended?
You want to go through all of them and then
No.
we'll. Oh.
Okay,
And this is for the land use table to expand upon uses in the existing land use table. This will allow additional uses within the business, limited business, and industrial zoning districts. If a proposed land use could not be categorized within the existing table, it is not permitted. Categories were expanded upon to include businesses such as personal service establishments and fitness studios.
okay.
On that one, just to be clear, the if a proposed land use could not be categorized within the existing table is not permitted. And that's how it stands today also, right?
Yep.
Yes.
We've just given more
But we've given
definitions
more
and
options.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you say expand upon uses and clarify and further clarify the existing land use table or something like that? Yeah. You're much better with words than I am.
Existing land use. Is that good?
Yep,
Yep.
looks good.
Yep. Sounds good. I'm not a words person.
I don't know if there's any public comments on anything before we make motions.
Hi, yes, good evening. Patrick McCarty Engineering here again. Steve Megradishian, who was with me last time, unfortunately was unable to join us tonight, but we were just hoping to see if the board had any input on the potential of changing the self-storage use for the Colonial Candy site. Understanding your concern about the other limited business parcels in town, Steve just asked me to reiterate to the board that should you consider a special permit use, that he is 100% ready to move forward with this project, and would be also 100% willing to work with the town to make sure that it fit the character and the look that the board would want under that special permit process. Understanding that you would have more than your standard purview as if it was a by right project. So didn't know if the board had any further discussion after we left last time or any thoughts on that. I see it still as a no in the amended table that you reviewed this evening.
Patrick, yes, we did. And I think that's where we left it, that we want to further consider what the implications of that are, even under a special permit.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry to say that, but it sounds like a good use, but to your point, were we to do it in that particular lot, we would be required to do it under a special permit elsewhere, and we're not sure where that would go.
Okay. Understood. I thought I would give it one last shot before you voted.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think also like something like this, we would want to discuss and like even maybe potentially have a forum or something with town. Like that's like a much bigger change than any of these changes you could see we've been talking about. So I think it just required more thought. It was kind of towards the end of the process, basically.
Okay.
And-
Understood. All right.
Patrick, we've been doing that. We're in the middle right now of looking at the area in the intersection of Forbush Mill and Main Street and doing exactly that, stepping back and looking more generally at that whole area and what the implications would be at a proposed change in zoning, which I believe we will
Okay.
do.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Well, thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Have a good night.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I think we've seen all the summaries. We've seen all the detail. It's time to have an omnibus vote on all of the proposed articles.
Can I
Do I
ask
hear
one
a
more
motion?
question, please?
Yep.
Yeah, this is Mike Taylor again. With regards to the 250-17 driveway bylaw,
Yep.
so if a country road is not thickly settled and it's not marked, the speed limit's not marked, what's the assumed speed limit in terms of that sight distance?
25 miles an hour.
Is that the town?
Yes.
That's
Yep.
Yes.
town-wide? Okay. Thank you.
If we are good, I will make a motion. Okay, I will make a motion to recommend for approval and inclusion in the 2026 annual town meeting articles, the bylaws regarding section 250-12D, the land use table, section 250-17, the driveway bylaw, section 250-15, the major residential development, and section 250-27, the inclusionary zoning requirement.
I'll second that.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
I
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Eric Nyland.
Aye.
Articles are recommended, approved by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, that takes care of the public hearing. Shall we close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the zoning bylaw town meeting articles.
Thank you. Seconded.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
I
Eric Nyland.
Aye.
Is closed.
Hey, Austin, where are you? I mean, that tea plantation looks amazing.
yeah, I'm in a newly finished room above my garage, but the background is a tea plantation. Exactly. Yep.
Sorry.
It's not a picture that I took personally, but I have been to one. So maybe one day I'll put my real picture behind it.
Yeah, it looks like one in Uti in India that I've spent time at.
Yeah, it's very very close to it. Yep.
Okay, we have additional business. Do you want to talk a little bit about our recommendation for the grant application for funding at the culvert on
Did
Forbush
you want
Mountain?
to do moderator way? We're not.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
We don't need to make a recommendation at this point, but we did put a placeholder onto the Board of Selectmen. This one's a little unusual in that the planning board voted to revoke the bond for Moderator Way to finish some work that needed to be completed because the project was not finished by the developer. He appealed the bond revocation and it went into court proceedings. There was a settlement agreement, and part of that settlement agreement was that the town take ownership of the public way and the drainage system, and the bond money was transferred to the town for completion of the remaining work. So we currently own the property, but it is not considered an official public way until it goes through the town meeting acceptance process. So that's why it's on the town meeting warrant for 2026. Once it's recognized as an official public way, it's eligible for Chapter 90 funding and some additional benefits that come with the roadway acceptance. So we had hired Dillis and Roy. They were the design engineers for the subdivision, but they are hired by the town, and they completed the as-built plans and the street acceptance plan.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So the settlement, did that cover the punch list?
Well, there was never a punch list completed, so the bond covers the creation of the as-built and the layout plans, and so that work commenced. We still have remaining funds. We've hired someone to clean out the detention ponds and do TV inspections of the drainage system. And once that work's done, a comprehensive punch list will be created, and we'll probably need to prioritize the remaining items based on the funds that are available in the account.
So it sounds like basically the town owns the roadway right now.
Yes.
We do, yes.
But it's not a public roadway yet.
But it's correct.
No, yes.
So what happens if we go through this punch list and it's like there's tons of issues where the as-built doesn't meet the design? Are we screwed?
Yeah, once the town agreed to take ownership of the property, you agreed to take we agreed to take it as is. So we're responsible for the remaining punch list.
And
Sounds like
do we-
it sounds like whatever the settlement was, we got the short end of the stick. I mean, it's kind of like a gamble.
Well, without revealing what I was involved in an executive session. Let me say that the lesson that I have learned is never use insurance for bond uses. Because they pulled the insurance to Hannaford.
Say it again. I don't understand.
The bond was based on an insurance policy.
The bond that the developer put up was based on
That's right.
insurance. Okay.
We didn't have cash sitting in an account.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't require the type of security. It's defined in Mass General Law, so you have to accept one of the three options.
Yep.
Oh. And while the road is in this kind of limbo, we own the property. Are we liable for taking care of it, such as plowing and salting and such? Okay.
Yes, it was
We
plowed
have
by
all
the
winter.
town
Yep.
over the
So this
winter.
is kind of just like a formality at this point. Okay.
Basically,
Yeah.
yes. Well, I mean, it puts a layout of the way on record, and it helps us prioritize utilizations of the funds to complete the remaining items of the subdivision.
Okay.
So the detention ponds have been overgrown. We need to clean them out. We would typically require a developer do that before we would accept the public ways. But we have funds to do that, so we've hired someone. Those are the major things that have to get done: the as-bills and the layout plans. The location of the granite bounds weren't done, so those were done as well by Dillis and Roy. And then cleaning of the stormwater system has to be done as well. We want it in a condition that it adequately accepts the road drainage. So once those things are done, we can create the punch list, prioritize what's left, how much it will cost, and see what can be completed with the remaining money in the account.
And if there's any leftover money, does the town get to keep it?
Yes,
Okay.
but we're not expecting a
Yeah.
big surplus. Yeah.
I mean, I had some questions, maybe other people on the board did too, come from people from another development that's kind of in limbo, and they were like, they didn't understand, and I didn't understand, like, why is this one going through, but that's it's kind of stuck, like, so it's just like legally what a judge said, you know, this is what a judge determined, and we kind of got stuck with it essentially.
It was a settlement agreement that was reached through an appeal filed by the developer for
In-
revocation of the bond.
And it was in land court or is this?
It did go to land court, yes, but the settlement was reached outside of court with the law committee and the developer's attorney, I believe.
So now,
possible.
I mean, say for instance, something major comes up and like we need to tear up the road, do something ridiculous. I don't know what. Like I actually think, isn't this the one that it had all the major runoff and like you know, is it
So
running off onto the road? Like
yeah, no, the runoff was in people's yards. That was the
Yeah.
big sticking point with the developer at the
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Was that runoff was happening on people's yards, and the planner at the time felt that that should be addressed. There were actually, I don't remember there being many issues with the road and the
No, there
drainage
aren't.
system on the road. So it was really just a matter of like, it was almost like subdivision acceptance versus road acceptance, and it just got into a, you know, a bad state. But
And Eric, are you referring to maybe Century Mills?
Yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah.
just like I'm trying to understand the difference, like
They
how this one.
they haven't gotten to land court yet, right? They're
No,
still
no.
so they're not as far along as this one is, right? In
Right.
terms of
But the
resolution.
huge difference is that the water supply for the residences in CME run piping underneath the roads. And they have not had an as-built because it was not as-built when they were put in place. And the concern is if that piping fails, and we're not sure exactly where it is, whose responsibility is it to take care of the repair, not only of the piping, but the road? So we have a very complicated situation with residents, what is called a homeowners association, which really isn't. It's an agreement for water supply between the developer who owns the public water supply and the homeowners. And the developer has the right to put people on and take people off that board at his discretion, which he has. So we're in a very complicated liability situation were we to accept that road without having all of the contingency necessary from somebody in order to accommodate and mitigate the repair. So there's quite a big difference, actually.
Mhm.
And I don't think that's understood as well as it could be. But in the memo that Pam put together, Austin, I think it was very clearly stated.
Mhm.
So we await.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, that all makes sense. I was just trying to understand the difference between.
are we voting on anything tonight then, Pam?
Yeah.
No?
No, we don't need to. It's just, I'm just gonna
Okay.
keep it on the agenda and inform you of the progress. You do have authority over the bonds. So we will be coming to you eventually with a punch list, but for approval of what should be prioritized for completion. And I would, we did tell the abutters we would notify them when we got to that point, so they would be aware of the remaining work that's required.
But at the same time, in order to make this happen, we have to make a recommendation to the Board of Select or the Select Board. And we can do that actually on the town meeting floor. Because things are getting kind of tight with that as-built information and the punch list.
This isn't as critical, because we own it already, so it's not like a typical subdivision where we wait for everything to be completed before we make a recommendation. We own it, so it'd be beneficial to accept it as a public way.
Paying either way.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. The last thing I believe is Randy's request that we provide a letter of support for his bridge on Forbush Mill.
You want to do the approval of minutes first, Bob?
Yes, let's do that. I'm sorry. We have a motion to approve the January 2026 minutes that were,
I will make a motion to approve the planning board minutes from January 14th, 2026.
Second.
Give me one 1 2. 1 second. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 Bob Romer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
I
Michael Lau,
Aye.
and Eric Nyland.
Aye.
The January 14th minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0.
Hey Pam, I sent you an offline copy of my problems, of which there were very few, with those minutes because I couldn't make any changes to the ODT file on the drive.
That I actually have called our IT company about that. That happens to me periodically too, and we're trying to figure out why. So
Okay, so I just
to get
downloaded,
that
saved it
resolved.
as, yeah,
Okay, I'll incorporate those.
okay, they were very minor. Thank you.
I did notice
Thank-
that Jim was marked as present and absent, but he was absent for that meeting.
Okay, Michael, thank you very much for reminding me. Now, on to Randy's request.
Okay, so the DPW is submitting a grant application for the replacement of culvert number 1 on Bush Mill Road. The grant is called the MVP program. And the project cost is about $2 million. So Randy has submitted funding requests to DOT. And also he is applying to a few grant programs for additional funding. MVP is one of them. It grants up to $1 million. It does can potentially cover culvert replacement, and part of the increased cost is due to the stream crossing standards that are in place. The culvert was designed by Ty and Bond Associates, and so this would be for the actual construction. He's
Sorry, is this the-
requesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Pat. Is this the same project that closed down Forbush Mill Road last time? Is this a piece
Nope,
of that,
that
or
was-
is this a different area?
That was the culvert by the landfill site. This one's up a little further. It's closer to the DPW building. I can pull up a plan.
Okay.
So there are actually 4 culverts on Bush Mill Road, and they all have to be replaced. So
My God. Close the
Um,
road, make you go to the transfer station the other way.
that's not going to work well for our zoning study.
He suggested that
He
actually.
did, yeah.
is each culvert one crossing of that water body over
It's
the
all
road?
the same stream that
It's all the
meanders.
same stream.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
it
a very
meanders
expensive
kind of
stream.
in and out, yeah. Just give you So the planning board support would help the grant application check off some boxes. So culvert crossing 2, I believe, was the one that was replaced already. This is for culvert crossing 1.
Wow.
It's what happens when you build roads in lowlands.
Yeah, but this is a really old road, right? Just based on the historic property on this road, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what were they thinking?
Well, they didn't have the kind of floods that we now have, apparently. And this particular little stream comes under the National Rivers Act, which complicates things. It's part of the estimate.
Austin, there are so many culverts in Bolton. It's insane. And like they're all basically failing, so
Oof.
in some state of failure.
Mhm.
So Pam, what else would we use MVP money for if not for this?
It's MVP that it's supposed to be used for kind of climate mitigation, so things that would affect increased precipitation, things that help mitigate flooding, things that are associated with heavier rainfalls are often given a priority. We've historically gotten some funds for Derby Field replacement because we incorporated some stormwater and native plantings, planting gardens, that type of thing. And I believe one was MVP grant was also granted for something called the Apple Country Project.
Yeah,
And that was quite a few years ago. So those are some examples.
How often are we allowed to apply to it?
You can apply annually. They give grants up to $1 million for over a 2-year period, especially when it's a construction project.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't support this. I'm asking the question if
Yeah, sure.
we
Yep.
use it on this, what was there anything else we were trying to apply for a grant for?
There's also 2 more culverts on that same road. So if we're considering making this more of a commercial zone, it would make sense for us to maybe prioritize that if they're all failing and this one's, you know, going to help us the most in the future.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I was just curious if there was anything else that we were thinking about, applying for one of the grants for.
No, not that I'm aware of. You can apply for more than one project per community, I believe. But I don't know of any other departments that have intent to apply for funding.
That guy in the house paid for it. It looks like it's on his property.
Didn't
I mean,
that
I'm fine
Randy,
with-
Randy
I
gave
think
us a
that house
sample letter. I'm sorry, what's that?
I was just gonna say, I think that house might have recently sold, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
it did.
Yep. So new owners.
Knew he was gonna get his front yard blown up for a few months.
Hmm.
yeah, it's quite a bridge.
Yep. Yeah, I'm fine with this, and so
Yep.
He gave us a sample letter.
Bob, do you want me to make a motion to approve?
Yes, if you would, please.
I will make a motion to approve the planning board recommendation for the MVP grant application for the Forbush Mill Road Culvert #1 replacement project.
Second.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
I
Michael Lau,
Aye.
Eric Nyland.
Aye.
Well, unanimously send the letter. Bob, are you okay with me signing that on the board's behalf?
Sure. Okay, any other new business?
I just have
Just
one.
a-
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pam.
An FYI, the International Golf Course has submitted a special permit application to the select board for construction of 3 cottages that'll be utilized for lodging. The select board is going to hear it tomorrow evening and decide whether they would like to review the application or refer it to the planning board for jurisdiction.
Oh, good.
Like tiny cottages, or when you say
There-
cottage?
Let me see if it's posted. It might be.
Like the ones in Newport, right?
I can pull. There.
Like Taylor Swift type cottage.
Let me pull it because it'll be. In a second. There's only 3 of them. They would come back for a second phase, so. Just want to get the right.
Expecting to see Marble House, The Breakers.
Fine if you can't find it. I was just
No.
No, I,
curious
I have
if
it.
they
I'm
were
just
talking about
trying to find
some
the,
huge development or something.
no, it's
Three
just,
cottages sounds very tiny.
just trying to find the right page, and it's taking a minute to go through the plans because they're pretty detailed, but. Big file. So, these are the 3 cottages. This is one cottage. It has 4 bedrooms in it, which sleeps 8 people, and it's connected by a common living area and kitchen. There are 2 of those proposed. And then this is a different type of cottage, which has 2 bedrooms on each side, a patio in between, and then a common living room and kitchen to share, but they are not attached. They only are connected by an outdoor patio.
Okay,
So this may come before us. Is that the what you're bringing this up for?
Yes, they're gonna make a decision. Well, the site plan review is under your purview now, so you'll be hearing that portion of the application. And they'll be deciding tomorrow if they want to hear the special permit portion of the application. Under
I would
the
just-
limited recreational business district, they have jurisdiction over accessory uses.
We could take that from them too.
So I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thanks.
okay, I believe that completes our business.
I have one quick item. I'll make it very quick. We discussed last meeting, the idea to have a potential childcare center at Colonial Candies, could be a good option. I did reach out to the business owner who ran the daycare facility that I sent my kids to for 4 years. Really awesome business owner. And interestingly, is very interested in expanding into Bolton. I did bring it up to her and she was aware of the property. She said that I guess the listing price for Colonial Candies was around 2.3 million, and she anticipated that she'd have to spend about another $1 million to really properly convert that to a child care facility. So she said, keep us posted with additional, properties that pop up that are standalone buildings. That's what she's interested in. But the list price was a little too high for her. So just wanted to fill you in about that.
I suggest she wait.
I feel like it's dropped down in price, but I haven't looked recently.
Did it drop down by $1 million?
If she wants an already built structure, or
Either that or a buildable lot. I think that would also be acceptable. But the combination of the list price and the renovation cost was too much for her.
yeah.
Still 2.3 million is what they're listing it for.
I know that Frank Chiodo was like throwing that around at one point with his land there across from the high school. But I don't know. Yeah, keep an eye out, I guess.
Which property is that?
It's behind Classic Pizza.
Yeah, what we're talking about, actually.
Yeah.
Is that that was the property that ususe to include Dagnall's Liquors? Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. Yep. Got it.
So he has there's basically land between those two,
yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, we approved, 3 houses there, but he has a lot of other land up in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, does anybody else have anything more? Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I forgot one more thing. Hold on. Postpone. Just
Whoops.
wanted to mention Austin and I met with the Housing Production Planning Committee yesterday. We had our first kickoff meeting. MAPC attended and all 7 members of the HPP committee attended. So we're off to a good start, I think, and we're gonna reconvene in a month and review some data that we're all in the process of collecting, and benchmarking's been done for the existing housing production plan as well as the housing chapter of the master plan. So we'll keep you informed as we move forward.
Great, thank you. Has everybody read the existing housing production plan? It'd be
One
worthwhile.
from 5 years ago, you mean? That
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
Yeah, the 2021.
It's very interesting.
a lot went into it.
Mhm.
Okay, now,
Sorry.
no, that's fine. Thank you very much. I'd completely forgotten about moving that forward. A motion and a second has been heard. All those in favor?
I
All right,
I,
Thank you.
all right.
Alright.
Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.
have a good night.
you
Bye.
too.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay.